Go for it.
There we go. All right. Welcome everybody to night 3 of Harvest Your Habits. We've got the lovely Adrienne Swanson with us, who's going to talk about onboarding and all the great systems there. But first, we got to celebrate some victories. So I know that some people have been posting. So let's hear what were the results. And it doesn't have to be just, recruits. That's the ultimate goal. But what else good happened?
Don't be shy.
Sherry, how many did you sponsor this month?
Ooh, well, I sponsored 8.
Woo!
Wow.
And it was all about, guess what? Asking. Yeah, it really was. But I know Adrienne sponsored a lot too.
Ooh, of course, I don't have access to that.
I sponsored 7. So,
Woo!
And it was the same thing as Sherry said. I just kept asking. So
That is awesome. Maybe I shouldn't ask you too. I should have followed up with that.
Well, who else? I'm sure there's others that have sponsored a lot. How about Kelly? How many did you sponsor, Kelly? Don't ask me.
I only sponsored 3.
Not only you sponsored 3. Yay!
Yeah, I sponsored 3.
How about Kim? Didn't you sponsor a bunch? Nope. Okay, got it.
I sponsored 3.
Yay, Rachel!
Rachel?
Yay!
Rachel, yay!
How'd you do it, Rachel?
Asking and following up.
So cool.
Yep, I get it.
I think Ellen was going to say something. 4?
You sponsored 4? How'd you do it, Ellen? How'd you do it, Ellen?
I don't know. No, seriously. It's like
that's lame.
No, seriously. Okay, it was lame. But they were surprises at the time. And then one of them actually signed up like September 30th at God knows how late at night. And it was somebody that I had spoken with, and she's like, you know what? And she just went ahead and did it. Like, didn't tell me she was doing it. And then like 10 o'clock at night, I was like, oh, how'd that happen? So
cool.
But they were surprises. I'm not going to say like, they were like mutual friends that we had. So it was like, it was out there and they knew me in some which roundabout way. But it's not like I ask them personally. It was like the information's there and I guess I'm there. So I guess they saw me and said, okay.
Oh, Ellen, that's so cool. Well, I know you're planting seeds. And Angie, before you go on, I just got to share with you something. So Stacy Stova had shared, every month's a great month to sponsor, right? It's only $49. And I had one of my new consultants, I had her forward me an email, which I found out she joined for $99. And I just didn't dare ask her, why did you do that? I mean, she lives quite a ways out, so she probably wanted the supplies, but I share that with you because Stacy did say there's a lot of consultants that even though there's a special, they'll do the $99. So what that means to me is it's not that, I don't know, it doesn't have to be $19.99. It can be $49, it can be $99, and they still join. So keep asking.
Totally.
I didn't have anybody join this time. However, I just had a vendor event on Saturday, which was the last day for the special. And I actually took an idea from our team and had a coffee chat list that I had 3 people sign up for. So later this week, I'm going to be setting up just a coffee chat with them and just ask them if they would like to join or not. So
that's awesome. Tell us more about the coffee chat. Is it just like a opportunity call
just an opportunity call, or like meet somewhere and have coffee and just talk about, ask them, what do you want? Like Adrienne was telling to us before, is it no, not never, or is it no, just not yet, so that kind of thing.
And you jumped in, Jean did too, with did all the homework and that was amazing. You would have got an A.
Yeah, good, because I was always a C kind of student, so that's good.
Yes.
Didn't get anybody to sign up, but
Do you think though you started some habits that might stick with asking more? See.
Oh yeah.
It's totally gonna pay off.
Oh, absolutely.
It'll pay off, Jean. Don't just hang it. I can't wait to hear from you in 90 days.
Yeah. All right. But I did do 4 parties though, so I got 4 parties. So
That's
Hey,
awesome.
that is awesome.
Yeah. That's where I kind of was. I didn't have anybody join. I had lots, but I booked some parties from it that
Yeah.
before they had just literally weeks ago told me no to a party. But then when I bugged them about this, I think they felt guilty. So I'll take it.
I'll take
They
it.
didn't feel guilty. They were ready to have fun, girl.
That's
Well,
right.
I literally had
Angie.
asked them 2 weeks ago to have a party. It was funny, but it's
Well, and
okay.
that's who you loop back to too. Even
Yeah.
though, I mean, even though they said no when they have fun, don't be afraid to say, I'm just gonna loop back. Here's how much you could have made at this party,
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea.
And there's other people in this parties, so it opens it up to all those
Mhm.
other people that you might meet that you can just ask.
Yeah, totally.
And the good habits that you came across and everything. So being able to do that as well. So the habits.
Good. Anybody else want to share? Well, that is awesome. We
Oh,
had
Kim,
lots.
Kim wants to share in the
Go,
bottom.
go.
I didn't have anybody join in September, but I did have someone join yesterday. Somebody that I'd been talking to since June. And when I talked to her about the $19.99 special, she's like, no, I want to join with the $99 kit. So, what made her wait till the first, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. But I do want to share that I took your 1480 image and made my own for my vendor event. I have a 6-day Friday, Saturday, Sunday vendor event. And I have that posted. And I also did bag inserts. So I took Friday night ended up getting rained out, but Saturday I had the QR code to my page and then the $19.99 join sign in bags that went home with everyone. And then I've just changed it, tweaked it to the $49 and $99 for the rest of the event. And that's going in all the bags. So, I mean,
Fantastic.
so see.
Yeah, that's right. Planting them
That's
seeds.
awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else? Well, good job. All right. And I know there's lots of people watching it that aren't able to come tonight, but all right, Adrian, you ready to take it off?
Yeah, let's do this. So thank you, Angie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm so excited to hear all that because that's where I was going to start is a quick recap of the fact that Jen and Kathy did an awesome job. Now, you guys, I'm not going to have a PowerPoint presentation because I'm just not that creative. So I will have things that I'm going to share on the page, but we're just going to go with it. But I love that Kathy and Jen talked about the 2-minute atomic habits, right? Like just 2 minutes a day, change a couple of things and keep doing it. Now, the thing I want to emphasize is keep doing it. So a lot of people do it for a week or two and then they're like, you know what, it's not working, including myself. I've done it. So what I want you guys to know is it's got to go longer than that. You've got to give it time to start creating traction and also for you to get comfortable with it and build the belief that it's working. So, I mean, a lot of times we do a couple of things and we just can't quite, we just don't keep up with it. So I want to make sure that you're keeping up with it and doing those couple of habits every day. And then Angie and Sherry did an awesome job talking about all the different ways that we can sponsor, right? Like with host coaching, with referrals, like bringing a sign to your events, like all these different things. And as we just talked about, number one, just asking. And Sherry, I'm so glad you said that because that was going to be one of my first things is just because it's October 1st and there's no $19.99, you guys, $99 to start a business is incredibly easy. And Tastefully Simple gives you your website. They give you the marketing. They give you incentives. If you wanted to start your own business, there's a lot more work and a lot more money that would go into it. So $99 is such an amazing price to start your own business. So keep asking. Just that $19.99 is over. I think like Sherry said, a lot of people even joined for the $99, right? Because they wanted the supplies and to get a business. So I'm super excited that you guys all have asked people. And even I heard a lot of people that sounded a little defeated. Don't be defeated that you didn't get a join. You were asking. And that is what matters because it will come around. It will come around. And, I want you to keep doing that. And what I really suggest, one of my big systems is have a notebook that is just for sponsoring. And when you have these conversations, I have 2 columns. One column is who I've asked, and one column is who said, maybe, let me have the conversation, said no. So those are the people that it's not good for them right now. And the reason I do this is, you guys, like, I wanted to go back to Angie saying like, oh, they felt guilty and did it. No, they didn't. It was 2 weeks later and life changes.
I think we lost her.
Dang it. I could tell that the internet was bad because
She's coming back in.
She'll hop back in. I'll watch.
Yeah, she's
for her.
right
Am I
there.
back?
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, here
Am
she
I
is.
back?
You are
Oh my
back.
gosh, I'm so sorry. It just kicked me off.
Oh.
Is it
You were-
lagging? It's lagging.
Yeah, you're froze, but we can hear you. Oh, now we can see you.
You can hear me?
We can hear you, but
Can you hear me?
your picture, yep, keep talking. It's just that your face is froze.
Okay, I don't know why it just booted me. So I'm sorry. Maybe Maine has weird Wi-Fi. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going and hope that you, okay. Okay. So I keep that notebook and I wanted to,
Oh no.
Looks like Rachel's booted too, so maybe there's just some issues up there.
I did private message Rachel, but
She said there was lightning in the area.
Oh,
Must have a storm rolling in.
there's Adrian. Her picture's
am
back.
I back?
I think you're back.
you're back.
Am I back?
Yes.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. So I'm going to keep going and hope that that doesn't happen again. I think is it okay? So, anyway, like I was saying, so I had contacted someone 5 times and then it was finally the right time for them to join. So I want you guys to remember to keep asking. Don't stop asking. And then I wanted to get into the whole onboarding new consultants. So it takes a lot to onboard a new consultant. And one of the things that I want to talk about is the 4 stages of competency. And the reason I say this is if you started a brand new job, like you can't just start a job and then people expect you to know that what to do. Like if you walked into a bank, people don't know like what to do. You have to sit down and teach them. Well, you're the expert and we have to be teaching these consultants what to do. Can you see it? So that is like, I can't get feedback, so I don't know if it's working.
It's working now.
So
Right
I
here.
want to make sure that you guys, okay, thank you. I was like, can you check? Because I can't see anybody, so it's hard to like read. Okay. So when we're onboarding these new consultants, like when you walk in and you sit down, you don't know the computer programs, you don't know how things work, and you have to be taught those things, right? You don't know what you don't know. You guys are the experts. We have to help them. So even when they say, hey, I only want to do it for the discount, you guys, they still need help. They don't know how to sell to friends and family. If we don't show them how to set up a party, if we don't show them how to share that, if we don't explain. So again, with like what I said on the Monday Jumpstart, I'm going to take it back to onboarding too. If you had your ideal Tastefully Simple business, what would that look like? Right? So even if it's selling to friends and family, what does that look like to you? Are you sharing recipes?
Shoot. Adrian, we lost you.
100. Okay. 42151.
We can see your face, Adrian.
Can you hear me?
We can now. What a challenge.
I'm trying to see if she's trying a different Wi-Fi password on here to see if it'll work better. I don't know what's going on, why it
we
keeps
can hear
booting
you.
me.
I know, dang it. Well, you're doing a great job considering you've been
Technology,
twice.
okay. I know, okay, well, I'll keep going because I don't want to take up your guys' time, but I definitely want you to understand that. So like I was saying, they don't know what they don't know. You need to figure out what their business is, what is making them excited, what's going to be, because they might be like, yeah, I want to have a party to show my friends and family. We can't assume that they just want to sit back and do nothing. And I'm, speaking from personal experience too, sometimes when they don't respond once, we're like, oh, they don't want to do this. No, you guys, like, they're busy, we're busy. We have to be the expert and show them how to move forward. So then I just had this happen actually with one of my newer people. They had their party and they said to me, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I was like, I know 5 years ago, I would have said, okay, bye. Sorry, glad you tried it. But I called them and I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, your first party was good. What's happening? And he's like, I had to drive a really far way. And I was like, oh, well, we've got Zoom parties and online parties, and there's all these other options of things that you could do. And he was like, oh, really? And so we started talking. It wasn't that he didn't want to do it. It was that something didn't work out right. Now let's think again. Let's go back to, you start a job at a bank or Walmart or whatever. Something goes wrong. You need to be taught how to do it right? Like, somebody has to be there saying, hey, this is something else you could do. Why don't you try this? This actually works better for me, right? So that's our job. And I know that a lot of times as consultants, we get really worried about talking to people and asking them questions, but the only way we can help them is by asking them questions. And so I have a party follow-up that Connie Ashburn's amazing. A lot of what I'm talking about tonight is Connie, because she's fantastic. But it's a party follow-up. And that's how I found out from this new consultant that he wasn't happy, because it says, like, what are your sales? How many bookings did you get? Blah, blah, blah. And all of that was good, but it was the drive. So we worked out other options and he's back to booking parties and going to try some things. So I just really want you guys to understand that it's all about communication. And I know sometimes we're nervous, right? Like, this is exciting. I hear people say all the time, I don't want to scare them away. You guys, they're excited. They want to be there. You're not going to scare them away. You are going to help them grow in their business the way they want it. So after we kind of get through that part, a lot of times about 2 to 3 months into it, sometimes if they're not doing a lot of parties to start, they get a little like, ooh, I don't know a lot of things, and they get scared. I tell these consultants right away that this is going to happen right when they start. And I told the guy I was talking to the same thing. I'm like, you're going to get to a point where you're going to say, I don't know a lot of things and I don't know that this is for me. That is when I need you to call me. That is when I'm going to support you, because we all have those moments where we don't know what we're doing and someone needs to help us, right? Like, even if it's just for atta girl, you're doing awesome, right? Like, sometimes we just need something. So I want you guys to remember clarifying that ahead of time, that they are going to hit a spot where they're confused or not knowing things, that's going to be normal. This is not abnormal. So normalize that. And that's why you're there to help them. Now, mind you, you guys, that's happening around the time they're probably at like 6 parties. So again, the reason that even when they're selling to friends and family, we want to try to get parties going is because the sooner they can have 6 to 12 parties, the sooner this business becomes second nature. So again, if we go back to the bank and I sit you down at a computer and I'm like, okay, here's how you put in deposits. Here's how you do this. Okay, here you go. Then they leave. I leave that day and I come back a month later and they say, okay, do it. Am I going to remember how to do that? No, I'm absolutely not going to remember how to do that. So our consultants are the same. If they have one party now and they're going to wait 2 months to have another one, you need to explain to them, you're going to get frustrated. There are going to be things you don't remember. Let me show you a video on how to start a party. Write it down, whatever they need to do, because when you wait that long, it is going to be hard for them to get started. So once we get past those 6 parties, we start going, okay, now I know what I don't know and I'm learning it, right? And so I can go now to meetings. I can go to my leader. I can go to the team page and say, hey, I'm trying to do this and I can't quite figure it out. Or I'm host coaching and mine isn't going well. What could we do differently, right? They know what they don't know. So that's when you're looking at, okay, they're getting a groove. They know how to do the basics, but they're trying to up their game, right? They're leveling up. Okay. And that usually happens around the 6 to 9 parties. Okay. So they're starting to figure it out. They've got a groove on. And now again, through all of this conversation I'm having with you, remember, the longer it takes to have 9 parties, the longer this whole process is going to take. And then finally, around 12 parties, they are starting to understand everything, right? They're confident in what they're doing. They're confident in having parties. They're confident in setting them up, all of those things. So what I really want you to take away from the onboarding process, and I'm going to give you a system that I use and systems that I saw a couple other people comment on as well. But what I really want you to take away, guys, is you're the expert. You are the expert. And even if you just started and you just sponsored someone, to them, you are the expert. It's okay that you don't know things, but you are the one to go find them out and help them through it. Does that make sense? I just want you to look in the mirror every night and be like, I'm the Tastefully Simple expert. That's what I am. So that every time you're talking to consultants, you know that you are the expert that's helping them through their business. And so with onboarding, a lot of people, like I'm, kind of giving you the walkthrough of the onboarding, but people are like, how do you do it? What do you do? So I saw a lot of different things out there. I saw Debbie Kimmel give like 4 tasks a week and ask them to complete them and let them know when those are happening. I know I do videos, and once they complete the task on the video, then I send them the next video, because now that Fast Start is cumulative, we can kind of work with them as they have time to work, right? We still want them to work. Like Sherry, I know we always say this, working is, flexible, but it's definitely not optional, right? We need them to put time aside and work. So I want you to remember that too, that we have an awesome business, but it's not optional. And so whatever your onboarding process is, the number one thing I want to tell you is communication. If they want to communicate on text, communicate on text. If they want phone calls, give them phone calls. But every time you stop, like you send a text and you answer a question, are there any other questions? When would you like me to contact you again? You guys ask them what they need and you be there for them. But then I also really make sure I'm asking questions like, so how many parties do you have set up? So what days do you have that you could party? You have to be the one to guide them in the direction of what they need to be doing for the next step. You can't just say, what questions do you have, and let it go, because again, you're the expert. They don't really know what they don't know. So that's why giving them to-dos or steps is what I highly recommend. So that you are keeping up with them and they are moving forward with their business, whether it's 15 minutes a day they have or an hour a day, they are working towards their business. So I know I'm a super fast talker and I got cut off twice. You might've done that on purpose. Did you do that on purpose? No. So does anybody have questions? Is there anything I can clarify, help you guys out at all? What you got for me?
Adrian, I will add, first of all, super job, super energetic and super great tips. What really hit me is when Adrian said, do 6 to 12 parties and they'll get in a groove. And I'm thinking a lot of my people aren't even doing 6 parties. I don't know if anybody else felt like that. Like I get them going and they're excited and then they like nosedive into doing almost nothing. So I've got to really, and I say, do the Frankie list. Who's your next host? And they just kind of like, duh. Do you have any advice for that, Adrian?
So I think this goes back to, again, like letting them know that it's normal. Like I think people get afraid, right? Like their 3 closest, my sister, and I called my best friend. I did all those parties, nobody booked. So again, it's us working with them and showing how to book at parties. But I think there's you guys, we even have it, right? I've even looked at my calendar and went, whoa, Adrian, you've got nothing on the books. What's the matter with you? Right? Like it even happens to us. And then I talk to my accountability partners, Rachel, Sherry, and I'm like, what are you doing? What should I do? And they're like, call your past hosts, do the A to Z booking, like all the things I know, but I need to be told again, right? Like, cause we're doing the same things and sometimes those things get lost. So I think that telling them it's normal, you're going to have a moment where you feel like you have no bookings and there's no parties. Let's work together. What can we do? And I think this goes back to, okay, so you want a couple more parties. Who would you love to party with? What would it look like if you had the best party ever? Let them tell you what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for a giant online party. Maybe they're like, I mean, I just did that. I was like, I'm just going to have an open house. And I had a $1,700 open house because I made sure I called and I followed up and I asked people to show up. Like, but I had to have that idea myself. If somebody would have said have an open house, I might've been like, well, okay, let me think about it. But as you get like, somebody asks you, what do you really want to do? I love having open houses. So I was like, that's what I want to do. But you might be like, I'm not opening my house to anybody, but I would like to go do an event. You know what I mean? So sometimes we assume that our new people want to do what we want to do, and they might not. So I always go back to the question of what does your ideal business look like? Let's get there together. But I think just setting the standard that there are going to be moments where they say, what did I get myself into? And they don't want to talk to you, but that's when they need to talk to you the most so that you can help them. So Sherry, that's kind of my go-to when people start falling off is I tell them ahead of time, I know this is going to happen and you're going to think you shouldn't call me, but that's the number one time you should call me.
Adrian, I'm gonna give your first of all, great job today. Number one. Number two, your podcast that you did
Thank you.
with Connie about those 4 stages of competency was amazing and truly was eye-opening to me. And I think it's kind of good to share that same podcast with your newbies once they're kind of like starting to get into that, like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I actually had my newbie listen to the podcast and say, tell me what stage you think you are in right now. And she was completely off.
Oh, that's smart.
And it was really interesting for me to get a feel of her perspective of where she thought she was. And I'm like, well, actually, as your leader, I'm going to tell you you're here. And here's why I think that. You tell me why you think where you're at. And we had a really nice conversation about it.
That's awesome. That's such a great idea. And I will, Sherry, I will put in the Harvest Your Habits, I'm going to put a picture of Connie's 4 stages of competency so you can read over it. And then I will also put a link to the podcast. So if you want to check that out, thank you, Kathy, for reminding me of that because Connie does such a great job. And this was also an eye opener to me because I used to have that mentality too of I don't want to scare them. I don't want to call them too much. Yes. And then I was like, wait a minute, you know, I'm the one that needs to show them how to work. I'm the person who knows what to do. So I agree. Thank you, Kathy, for that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And I saw somebody ask what an open house was. So for me, it's basically you just hosting your own party. So I love being a homebody in my pajamas all day. So I'm like, oh, I want people to come to my house. So I'll put jeans and a shirt on and invite them all over to my house. And so I'll have samples and different stuff. And it's a way for me to call, you know, some of the people that say they don't want to have a party, but they want to order. So that's what an open house is. And I just leave it open for about 3 hours at night from like 5 to 8 and people can just pop in and pop out as they can come. Was there anything else, Angie, in the questions? I saw that one pop up, but I didn't see anything else. But
somebody just said, share your podcast info.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that on, is that okay if I just do that on Harvest Your Habits? It's called Yo Adrian Talks, but I will share that specific podcast on the Harvest Your Habits.
Perfect.
That's great. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, anything else? Otherwise, it's 30 minutes. So I just want to thank you all for joining us, whether you're here live or watching the replay. And we have a lot of wonderful information. And as Adrian said, keep doing it. Keep asking, keep creating those habits. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And I know everybody here would say that, you know, just keep doing it and you will be rewarded. I promise you. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to stop the recording, but if there's anything you want to ask, stick around. Okay.